Have you ever looked up at the night sky and, just wondered? Have you ever asked yourself the biggest question of all? Where do we come from? For centuries, we have told ourselves stories. We have looked to religion. We have looked to science. But what if the answer is not on Earth at all? What if the answer is up there, in the stars? Could UFOs have had a hand in creating humanity? Is it possible our creators were not gods, but were in fact extraterrestrials? This is a question that many are afraid to ask, but we must ask it. Imagine a young man. He stands alone in a vast, open field. The wind blows through his long hair. Above him, the clouds drift across a deep blue sky. He feels a connection to the earth beneath his feet, but he also feels a pull from the heavens above. He thinks about petroglyphs and massive stone monuments that defy explanation. How did our ancestors achieve such incredible things? He wonders if they had help. Throughout history, across every culture on the planet, we find the same recurring theme: gods from the sky. The Sumerians wrote of the Anunnaki, who came down from the heavens. The Egyptians worshipped Ra, the sun god, who traveled across the sky in a solar bark. The Maya and Aztecs spoke of Quetzalcoatl, a feathered serpent who descended from the stars. Are these all coincidences? Or could these ancient cultures be describing the very same thing? Could they be describing visitors from another world? These gods were described as physical beings. They ate, they drank, they taught humanity about agriculture and astronomy. They taught architecture. They gave kings their right to rule. Look at the depictions. Figures wearing strange helmets, holding objects that look like tools. In South America, we find small golden trinkets archaeologists call insects. Yet up close, they resemble modern fighter jets. Wings, fuselage, tail. This idea is not so strange. We are sending probes to Mars and beyond. Many believe science and religion cannot coexist. They say you must choose one or the other. But what if the world's most sacred texts are not just books of faith? What if they are also historical records? And what if they contain evidence of extraterrestrial contact? Let us look at the Bible. For millions, it is the Word of God. But could it also be an account of encounters with highly advanced beings and their incredible flying machines? Consider Elijah. The second book of Kings tells us the prophet did not die. Instead, he was taken up into heaven. It says a chariot of fire, horses of fire, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. A chariot of fire, a whirlwind? What were the ancient writers trying to describe? They used the words and concepts of their time. Could a chariot of fire be their best attempt to describe a metallic, luminous spacecraft that descended from the sky? Think about the Star of Bethlehem. The Gospel says a bright star appeared and guided the wise men. It went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. Have you ever heard of a star that moves, stops, and hovers? No. But that is how a flying vehicle would behave. In Exodus, God leads the Israelites as a pillar of cloud by day, and a pillar of fire by night, an object that provides light, that guides, that can hover and move. A mothership, perhaps. A vehicle used by an extraterrestrial commander. I say yes. The possibility is undeniable. Of all the strange accounts in the Bible, perhaps none is more detailed and honestly more baffling than the vision of Ezekiel. This is not a vague reference to a fiery chariot. This is a highly technical description of a complex machine. Ezekiel describes seeing a whirlwind come out of the north. From it, the likeness of 4 living creatures. Each creature had 4 faces, 4 wings. Beside each creature was a wheel within a wheel, full of eyes, that could move in any direction without turning. That sounds remarkably like an omnidirectional vehicle, an engineered landing system. For centuries, theologians called it symbolic, but what if Ezekiel was witnessing a real object? He describes the color of burnished brass, the appearance of fire, a firmament shining like crystal. And on a throne above sat a figure with the appearance of a man. This is the language of a witness, struggling to describe advanced tech with Bronze Age vocabulary. He gives us a technical readout. Could Ezekiel have seen a landing vehicle? The living creatures might be landing gear, the throne, the command module, the figure a pilot. Even NASA engineers say the descriptions are consistent with a landing module. So, did Ezekiel see God or an extraterrestrial and his spacecraft? So what does all of this mean? If ancient texts describe flying machines and our ancestors mistook visitors for gods, what does that say about us? It asks us to consider a monumental possibility. What if Earth is not just a random planet? What if it is special? What if it is a project? A kind of grand experiment? A galactic space station seeded and observed by intelligent beings? They may have manipulated the DNA of early hominids to accelerate our evolution, to create us in their own image. If true, it could explain sudden leaps in human intelligence, impossible monuments, and consistent sky god stories worldwide. Could creation myths be allegories for genetic engineering? The missing link might be extraterrestrial. It would mean we are not alone. We are connected to something much larger, a cosmic family, a galactic plan we are only beginning to understand. We must have the courage to ask these questions. We must not be afraid of where the answers might lead us. Question everything, wonder, imagine, because the truth of our origins may be more shocking and more incredible than we dared to believe.